Hello everyone and welcome. This video is a continuation of the previous video where we talked about addresses. Now in this video I'm going to show you how you can use addresses as an argument passed to a function and as a return type from a function. So you can see I've created the address.py file and I'm going to quickly disable the RPC logs and the consensus logs so my terminal won't be clunky. And the first thing, I'm going to quickly paste in this code, and then I will explain. So the first line, again, defines the version type of GenLayer we are running this contract on, which is the latest. Eventually, when GenLayer launches, this will be changed to a version number. Secondly, we define the import statement. This will import every object from GenLayer into the GL namespace. Now we create our contract class that inherits from gl.contract. Then for the sake of this test, we define a single class variable called ADRR1, which is of type address. And then we define the initialization method. This function is what is run first as soon as the contract is deployed. Now we define a function that is going to do the two things we came to do in this video, which is both write and taking an address as an input and also return an address as an output. So the first line of code defines this function as a writeable function. So it means the function can update the contract state. Secondly, we define the function signature, which is the name, the input parameter, which is the underscore address one, which is what we are going to use to update this class variable. And finally, the return type as a string. Now you notice we access the class variable and then wrapped this string in an address class. What this does, this particular class converts this string input to an address, so we can easily update it here. If not, if you passed in this as a raw string by removing this address, this will fail. So we are going to wrap it back. Now we just debug prints to make sure our code works properly. And finally, we return the address as a string type. So let me quickly compile this code and give you an example. So the contract has been deployed successfully. You can see it was deployed. Now we are going to call the only method in the contract, which is setAddress. I'm going to quickly copy my own address and paste it here and send the transaction. Okay, if you notice, there was an error because we accessed this class variable here without the self keyword. So I'm going to quickly add the self keyword. And we are going to redeploy the contract again. So just quickly add the self keyword. If you've already written the code, then try to redeploy the contract. And then we are going to call the setAddress1 method and send the transaction. So you can see the transaction has finished executing. So you can see we set the address here and it printed out this method, printed out this return response for us. So this is a simple way to make sure that you can handle addresses in a method both as the input statement, which comes in as a string, then is converted to an address type, and then converted again back to a string for the return statement. So thank you and see you in the next video.